use Adobe Illustrator and the laser engraver machine over here to create something like this. Okay, so here is that artwork that I imported into Adobe Illustrator here. So as you can see, it's just a simple black and white depiction of birch trees. And when I do my surface engraving, it's going to engrave everything that is black and leave everything that's white untouched. What you're also probably noticing is this red box around the image. So this red box was placed here because that's going to represent where the laser cutter cuts the wood out. So we're left with just this small piece of wood because we're starting with a much bigger piece of wood. So once I have my design all set, I just go up here to File, Print. And our engraver is just like a big giant printer. But right now, as you can see, it's not selected. So I have to go to Printer and come up to Epilog Engraver. That is our printer here. Now, I noticed that the image was rotated. So I'm going to un-auto rotate so that everything is in the right direction. So it looks like that because it had rotated it earlier. And I'm not going to scale it. So now that I've adjusted those two settings, I'm going to hit Print. And now you can actually see it right here. It just dropped it there randomly. So what I'm going to do is move it to the place on the engraver on the piece of wood that we have here. What you're seeing is a live view with the cameras in the engraver of the piece of wood that's in there. So I'm going to place it right here. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to make a couple selections. Okay, so now that we have our image showing up here in our preview, because I have the red box around it that's going to cut through the material, I need to split this print job by color. So I had the red line going around the image. That's this here. So I'm going to set those import settings first. You go right here to import material settings. And this is a vector cut. So I'm not just engraving on the surface here. I'm cutting through it. So I have to click this vector tab. And then I'm going to come down here to wood. And the material is about a 1/4 inch. So we're going to use a 1/4 inch cutting. And we're going to import that. And then I'm going to come over here to the image, the engraving, and adjust those import settings, keeping this at engrave. And we're going to come down to wood, clip art text engraving 300 DPI. And we're going to import those settings. And then we're good to go. That's where we want it positioned. And we're just going to hit print.
All right. But before we actually go to print this, we've got a few things that we need to adjust. You can see this is the laser in front of us. We've got our material in here, and the whole thing is going to be controlled over here. So let's get a little closer. So next to the computer on this controller, you can see that there are some settings that we may want to adjust. So the design has come in on screen here. It's a little far away, but that's what we're looking for. What we really need to be thinking about is making sure that the gap between the laser tip and the material is the right size. So we're going to use this control here, which lets us do leveling, and we can set it to autofocus. Before we do that, sometimes you do want to use this controller. This will let us drive around the nozzle head. So I'm going to keep my finger on the joystick, but over here, I'm going to drive around until I'm right over where I want to make the cut. And now that it's in place, I can use this to make an autofocus happen. So it does that, and over here, it's raising the bed until it gets the height, and then it's got it in place. Now I can feel confident that my design is going to be where I want it to be. If I want to see where exactly it'll lay out, I can head back over to my list, and with this toolpath highlighted, the one that we've imported, I can use this tool and it will trace out where it's going to make that cut. And that looks good. It's a little obscured in this view, but trust me, it's in the right spot. So in order to actually go about the process of cutting it while this is highlighted, the simplest part of it is all you need to do is press this glowy button, and then we'll go through and start making the cut. So here we go. And it's giving an estimate. And there's the cut. We'll go to a time lapse.
So this is the engraving part. So now watch. Now it's doing a vector cut into the wood, so it's gonna like just leave that.
So now the cut is done. We're going to pull it out of the laser, and you can see that right away it's cool to the touch. So maybe we should have done a second pass, but there it is right out of the laser. Okay, that's it everybody.